Alright, we're going to do front pads and rotors on this 2014 Mustang with the V6. It should be very similar to the GT models as well. It's going to be the same process for this generation, 2010 through 2014. However, the previous generation and following generation will be extremely similar as well. But as I said, this one specifically 2014 with the V6. I will put a link in the description if you want to get yourself some drilled and slotted rotors for yours. This video is for the front, but I'll also be doing a rear video. So within a few days of posting this video, I'll also have the rear up. I'll put a link in the description for that if you need the rear as well. Which, by the way, the link in the description will be for a 4-wheel set, left, right, front, rear, because it'd be kind of silly to have drilled and slotted on only one end. So, and most kits, they come with all 4 corners anyway, so those are what the links in the description will be for. And there is going to be a difference in size and whatnot between the V6 and the GT models, so I will post a link for both in case yours is a GT. If you want to see more of the car, there's a Mustang playlist on the channel, but with that, let's get started. Before you take the weight off the tire, you're going to want to go ahead and loosen your lug nuts half to a full turn. So once you have the car up securely on a jack stand, you can go ahead and take your wheel off. You guys can probably see this new Coney here. I got a video, front and rear shocks and struts, so if you're looking into doing that, again, check out the Mustang. I got videos in there on that. So if you were just doing the pads, you can go ahead and take off your caliper. You'll just have 2 caliper mounting bolts. There's one there, and you'll have the same one on the bottom side there, and then you can slide off your caliper. Since we're doing the rotor, we need the bracket to come off as well, but we're going to go ahead and disconnect the caliper first. This is a good time. A lot of guys like to pull these slide pins out, and I'll show that in a second, and go ahead and lubricate those up while you're at it. Alright, so the caliper mounting bolts there were 14mm for me. Then you can work on prying this off. Just get you a preferably bigger than this flathead screwdriver, top and bottom. You just start prying back like that, and you can see it's already separating. And I got the center block here because you're going to want something to set this on. You don't want to leave it hanging off the brake hose or the brake lines back there. You can damage them. So there's with the caliper slid off, and then your pads here. You might have to remove the bracket to get your pads out. Oh, there you go. I think you got to tip the bottom out first, and then it'll come out. Should be the same on the back. They'll just wiggle out there. Yep, there we go. Then your bracket bolts here, for me, 15mm. You got one top and bottom. Right there. Then there's your bracket. You want to pay attention to the orientation that this comes off in. Now, for these little slide pins in here I mentioned, they will just simply pop out. However, it's going to be seized onto this rubber boot. So carefully, you will have to separate the rubber boot up here from this metal piece, and then you'll be able to pull the slide pins out. Like so, and then they'll just pull out like that. And that's what you want to grease and lube up. You can just use that brake parts grease that they sell at the counters of any of the auto parts store there up front. At this point, you can go ahead and take your rotor off. If it's stuck on there like mine is right now, you can just tap around on it with a mini sledgehammer until you break it free. They'll seize up in here, so you can spray PB Blaster or any other penetrating oil to help free it up. Sometimes they'll even get stuck around the lugs, but generally not too bad around the lugs because they usually don't rust that bad. But right around here, you can spray if you want, and even the lugs as well to help free it up. And then you're just going to have to tap around on it, being careful not to hit these lugs here to help break it free. Then with the old one off, go ahead and slide on your new one. Now these are zinc coated, guys, as are the ones I'll link in the description for you if you want to pick some up. So these are ready to go right out of the box. A lot of times when you get the smooth regular ones from the auto parts store or other places, I guess as well, they'll have like this tacky surface on it that you need to get brake parts cleaner and a rag, and on both sides clean it all off before you install it. The reason they put that on there is for storage so they don't rust, but these are zinc plated, so there's no worry for that. So they come completely dry, but you want to check for that. You'll know for sure if it's on there because it'll feel tacky, and you got to use brake parts cleaner to get it off. But no such worries with these. If your kit comes with the new hardware, you can go ahead and pop the old ones out, paying close attention to the orientation before doing so, and then install the new ones. You know, installation is pretty much going to be a reversal of removal, but I'll go ahead and throw little snippets in here for you guys so I can include the torque specs if you want them. So go ahead and reinstall the bracket. Then you want to go ahead and slide your new pads in. I want to point this out real quick. Can you see the difference between these two? This one has this little tang right here, and this one does not. Some kits, all the pads have them. Some kits, only one per side has it, such as this one. And what that is your little squealer, okay? So that is what will contact your rotor once your pad gets low, and it causes that squealing sound that everybody knows. So that's actually the wear indicator. It lets you know your pads are really low and they need replaced. Well, on a rear piston only caliper like this, most of the force and pressure is going to be on the back side here, so usually that back pad will wear out faster than the front pad. So you always want to be sure to put the squealer one on the back side of the rotor there. I just want to point out real quick, this is the old pad here. And a lot of cars don't have these, but this one does. These little springs here, you can see it just kind of makes the pad spring back away from the rotor when you let off your brake, and that's fine and dandy. These new ones have them as well, and these were turned. I turned them by hand so they lined up the same here, because one of mine was turned off to the side, so you should be able to turn them one way or the other. I mean, there might be some that are stubborn, but it should go like that. That way the pad springs back. Sometimes they're a pain in the butt. I've cut them off before just because it was more hassle than it's worth. It's not going to hurt anything if you break one or anything trying to line it up. I also wanted to point out, I bought this from the dealership with these, and yeah, the pads are on the wrong side there. You can see where the piston was touching there. So this one was on the back side with no squealer, and then here's the one with the squealer that they had on the front side here, and you can also see that those little springy things are snapped off of there too. They probably did that. They probably said screw it and broke them off. So it's not really going to hurt anything if you decide to do that, but that's what they're for. And like I said, not every car has these, so it doesn't really matter, but that's how you'll line them up if you want to utilize them. It makes it kind of a pain in the butt to get that lined up and slid in there, but you can do it, but it is a real pain because you got these springs fighting you the whole time. And then also when you go to install your caliper here, you're going to have to squeeze that in so that you'll have room to slide that over. I just want to show you guys this real quick in case you ran into the same problem. I took this off because I was struggling to get this rear pad in, and this is why. You see this gap here, gap there, whereas these ones down here, they're fitting nice and flush. That's the reason. So you got to find, I don't know if one's different than the other or whatever, or just need to flip-flop these, correct orientation, but you got to watch out for that. All right, now to create clearance for these new pads, you're going to have to take a C-clamp and old brake pad and get these two pistons pushed in until they're flush. That way you'll have clearance. All right, so you have your C-clamp here set up like this, and because this is a dual piston, you're going to have to kind of go back and forth, and walk both of them all the way down. You don't want to do one all the way at first, and then the other one you want to kind of go back and forth. So every few millimeters, unfortunately, and it's real tight in here, that's exactly what you're going to have to do to get these driven down all the way. All right, so with the pistons fully depressed, I was able to slide that back on there. Like I said, if you're utilizing these springs here, it'd be a little tricky kind of squeezing them in at the same time and sliding that over, but not too bad, got it on there. These have a flat bottom to them, so you're going to have to line that flat part up with that notch there in the caliper, top and bottom, to get those lined up, and then get your 14mm bolts back in. Don't forget to lube those slide rods there up if you want to do so. I gotta throw our wheel back on there and get it torqued down properly, and don't leave me just yet. I got one more piece of instruction for you before you head off. When you torque your wheel down, make sure you go in a crisscross pattern, never go one to the next. So on a 5 lug, you'll want to go in a star crisscross pattern like so. You can see this is free spinning here. So what I like to do is kind of jam my foot under it there, get them as tight as I can like that, and then I'll lower just enough weight onto the tire to keep it from turning and get my final torque value. Now once that's done, go ahead and repeat everything on the other side. Now just real quick, I wanted to point out something interesting over here on the other side. So on this side, these are not the same size. I didn't say what size the hardware was because I knew this as a mechanic. Sometimes you replace something. One of these calipers I had replaced earlier when I got the car because it was seizing up on me. So when you replace parts, a lot of times the hardware is different sizes. So a lot of times when working on used vehicles, you'll run into that where parts might not be the same size. So initially I refrained from saying, oh yeah, this is this size, and oh yeah, that's that size. for that very reason, because I didn't want people to be like, oh, you said it was this size and it's not. And, you know, trying to explain that is like, well, a long drawn out process, as you're seeing here now. So, but people were complaining that I didn't say what size the hardware was in my videos way back when. So that's why I always just say what size it is now. But I always try to say, with the denotion, for me, it's this size for that very reason, because they might not all be the same. And right here's a prime example of that. Also, this right here, by the way, is why you want to lube these slide pins. I'm over here on the other side, and that one's moving good, but this one was super stiff and it didn't want to come out, and that's why it's all dried up in there. So I'm going to clean this up and get some fresh grease in there. Alright, now the last thing you'll want to do, some cars, they have a lockout feature where if it thinks that you blew a brake line, it'll go ahead and lock out those set of wheels. That way you'll still have some brake pedal, and whichever opposite end of the car isn't locked out. So right now, after having installed those, your caliper pistons are back away from the pads. So when you first go to take off in this car anyways, you go to hit the brake pedal, it's going to be super spongy and go all the way to the floor. So you need to do this anyways to bring your pads back against the rotors and the piston all the way out. But you want to do this slow and take your time. If you just go ahead and stomp on it, you might trick your system into thinking you blew a brake line, and then it'll lock out that set of brakes. So what you want to do, come down here on the brake pedal and don't push it any more than halfway down. Light, steady pressure. Press it down about halfway, let it up slowly. Press it down slowly, let it up slowly. No more than halfway. And you basically just do that 5 to 10 times until your brake pedal feel returns to normal. You'll feel it firm back up. You might have to go a little further or a few extra times, depends on how far in those pistons are. There we go. Now I got my pedal back. I went a little past 50% there a couple times. Show just nice and slow and steady like that until your brake pedal feel comes back the way it should, and then you're good to go. Don't forget, I got the rear video as well. It'll be linked in the description within a few days of this one posting. Link in the description if you want drilled and slotted rotors for your own. If this video helped you out, be sure to leave me a like. Also, you can hit the super thanks bottom right under the video if you feel so inclined. If you want to see more of the car or other repair videos, check out the Mustang playlist on the channel. But I'm going to leave you at that. Appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.